The legal battle between rights activist Dele Farotimi and prominent Nigerian lawyer Aare Afe Babalola has sparked significant public attention. The controversy stems from allegations made by Farotimi in a recent interview where he accused Babalola of corrupting the judiciary. Now, this has led to a series of legal proceedings, including charges of criminal defamation against Farotimi. As the case unfolds, questions are being raised about freedom of speech, the integrity of Nigeria's legal system, and the broader implications for democracy. Well, joining me on the program this evening to speak on this is Nelson Ekujumi, the Executive Director, Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative. Thank you for being on the program this evening and joining me, Nelson.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
All right, let me start by asking first, what do you make of what we see between, of course, Dele Farotimi and the legal icon, Aare Afe Babalola?
Well, what I make of it is that our jurisprudence is being tested once again because Chief Afe Babalola has gone to court, or he petitioned the police over a criminal defamation of his name. And in the course of investigating the matter, the police did the needful after the other party refused to honor police summons. And the police obtained a warrant of the police took the matter to court and the court issued a bench warrant against Dele Farotimi for not turning up in court. And the police had to come to Lagos from Ado-Ekiti, where the petition originated, to arrest Dele Farotimi, and he was in court, and he was remanded in custody according to the court. So I think the rule of law is at play here, because I heard you talk about freedom of expression. In as much as citizens have freedom of expression, they must also be conscious of the fact that in life, no right is absolute.
Nelson, are you there? I think we, of course, are having a bit of connectivity. Okay, we lost you for a moment, Nelson. You were talking about freedom of expression there. And, of course, this has been the center, or one of the centerpiece of conversation right now. The thin line between freedom of expression and also trampling on another person's rights, especially as this case right now, which, of course, involves defamation. Is it okay to say that the lines here are pretty much spelled out? Freedom of expression, and at what point does it become, you know, an infringement on another person's right?
Freedom of expression, according to law, is the right to hold an opinion and to ventilate that opinion. But in ventilating that opinion, you must be conscious of saying or writing anything, because, you know, we're talking about two issues now, whether it's libel or slander. Libel is when somebody's name has been alleged to have been tarnished in a written form, either in a book or any other publication, while slander is expression by word of mouth. And the line between freedom of expression also connotes that you must recognize that that freedom is not absolute. Otherwise, I can wake up in the morning and say that for that your name, I can say, hey, you're an armed robber. You know, that is crossing the line. So I must recognize that that freedom does not give me the right to say what impugns on your character that will cause you harm. Because when I make a statement against your person, the harm that it could cause you could be monumental in terms of you being denied the opportunity to get job, you being denied the association of people in the society. So it is not enough for you to believe that you have freedom of expression without recognizing that that freedom comes with duties and obligations. And the obligation is to refrain in exercising your right, to recognize that where your right ends is where the right of the other man begins, Otherwise, the society will become a state of anarchy. And we all know what obtains in such a society. It will be all man for himself, God for us all.
Now, another, angle to this scenario right now seems to be the fact that, as regards public outcry, there seems to be more onto the side of Dele Farotimi. For some Nigerians, or many Nigerians, they feel that being a rights activist is a voice for the people, and is being in a way unfairly treated by the system. But some others are saying that, you know what, don't also forget the part of, Aare Afe Babalola too, who, of course, is at the receiving end here. And nobody really is talking much in that direction. Would you say that in terms of the general perception of this case, is it fair?
Well, the general perception of this case is one that I have not taken the measurements. And I don't know whether you have conducted a survey to arrive at your description of those supporting Farotimi as being of the higher population. But I can tell you for free that in any relationship between two parties, the party that seems to be less endowed, to be less, publicly known, always tend to attract sympathy, even when such persons, is in the wrong. In this case, it's not about whether public sympathy tilts toward Farotimi, because a lot of persons, you recognize that a lot of persons are on this issue, but they have kept waiting for the courts to make a decision. So it is not enough for us to say, because you hear all the noise on social media, to assume that noise translates to the total population of those who are in favor or who are supporting Farotimi vis-a-vis Chief Afe Babalola. But the truth of the matter is that the matter now is one in which the law is being tested, and any right-thinking person will know for free that we have this maxim that he who alleges has the burden of proving whatever he or she has alleged. So I don't think the perception that a lot of persons are in support of Farotimi because they see him as underdog. Absolutely no. I disagree with that conclusion. I believe strongly that there are lots of divergent views, some siding with Farotimi, some siding with Chief Afe Babalola. You also recollect that not too long ago, we had one between VDM and Femi Falana. So you cannot arrive at whom the public is tilting towards, because those are cases. If we want a saner society, if we want a better society, we should fold our arms, watch with keen interest, let the courts decide where it will go. Then we know that this is really the decision of the laws of the land, because the courts are there to interpret the laws and not to interpret our emotions and our sentiments, like it's been postulated on media space.
All right. Nelson, thank you so much for that. But before we, of course, continue, we need to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll definitely pick up. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This, of course, is still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And at this time, we are discussing, of course, the issues between Dele Farotimi and the legal icon, that's Aare Afe Babalola. I still have Nelson Ekujumi, is the Executive Director for Center for Rights and Accountability Grassroots Initiative. He joins virtually. Thank you for staying with me, Nelson. All right. Let me come back to you as regards. Great. Let me come back to you as regards the bail conditions being given to Dele Farotimi, 50 million, alongside a couple of other conditionalities too. Some are saying that this is rather too harsh for compared to the weight of the case on ground. Even though I understand that, you're not a lawyer, but from, a rights standpoint, is it fair?
Well, you and I know for free that the right to determine the bail condition, according to law, is vested in the courts. So I'm not in a position to query whether that the bail condition is harsh or not. Don't forget that this is a person who did a video before his lawful arrest, who dared the courts that he is aware that there's a case against him in courts in Ado-Ekiti, that is not prepared to go there, that they know his address and they should come and look for him if they really need his attendance in court. That tells you that this is a person that the court should not treat with levity. This is a high risk, suspect. So I don't think it is out of place for the court to have attached these bail conditions, to him, because he has shown that, he has scant regard for the judiciary. And if the judiciary, in its wisdom, have decided to do this, I won't sermonize or I won't moralize on it.
Okay, because for many observers of this case,
I've had cases.
For many observers of this case, they would say that it seems more like undue influence of some sort, taking place as against the actual issues on ground, which involves this case. So, I mean, I still put that question to you, that you feel the condition isn't harsh, and that Mr. Dele, given his utterances in the past, is a high-risk person.
No, it's not about his utterances in the past. It's about Mr. Dele Farotimi being issued a bench warrant before he could be arrested. That's what we are saying. If the court has to issue a bench warrant for you to appear in court, then when the time comes for you to be availed the opportunity of bail, the court will attach conditions that will make it stringent, such that whoever is standing surety for you must be somebody that is ready to bear the risk. We have seen it in the past. Farotimi will not be the first, and he will not be the last. So it's not about his statements. It's about his conduct as a lawyer, as a practitioner in the temple of justice. You expect him that even when he's not invited, to show that, look, I have respect for this institution that I belong to. If I have a case that my name is mentioned, out of courtesy to the court, is supposed to, be in attendance. But this is a person who publicly did a video and said they should come for him. And truly, the court had to issue a bench warrant before they could secure his arrest.
All right, let's look at this from a broader perspective now, because right now for some Nigerians who, of course, are following this case, they would like to see how eventually it will turn out. And for some experts too, they feel that this case, to some extent, might rub off on, maybe in a way, the integrity of Nigeria's judicial system. How much of an impact do you think this case would have, if at all, on the integrity of Nigeria's judiciary?
I'm very sure that if this case is not pursued to a logical conclusion, it will rub off negatively on Nigeria's, not only on Nigeria's judiciary, but also on the image of the country. Don't forget that Farotimi made 3 allegations from my own analysis of the content of the book. 1, he alleged that Aare Afe Babalola corrupted the judiciary, which is a criminal offense. That means Aare Babalola is liable for a criminal act of corruption. He alleged that the justices of the Supreme Court were corrupted, which means those justices are liable for desecrating their oaths as as priests in the temple of justice, which is also a criminal offense. And thirdly, he alleged that Aare Afe Babalola, in securing warrant for the execution of the court judgment, that Aare Afe Babalola doctored the court judgment, which is also a crime under our laws. So it is not only about libel, it is about the fact that Dele Farotimi has exposed corruption. It is now for us to demand that he provides proof so that we can clean the audience table. We can, take the necessary step to remedy this shame. If he fails to do that, some of us are calling for his prosecution for false information and incitement to cause a breach of public peace.
You said some of us. Us in what context?
Nigerians, including yours sincerely. If you can make 3 allegations that a man corrupted the judiciary, that the judges were part of that corruption, that is a desecration, that is a violation of the laws of the land. The corruption is a criminal act. And you now say a man doctored the judgment of a court. It's a crime. So the case even goes beyond the libel suit being filed by, the criminal libel suit being filed by Chief Afe Babalola. I can tell you for free, some of us are going to write a petition to the police authorities that they must investigate that matter separately. He must produce that judgment that was doctored so that Nigerians will be able to see that judgment, the original judgment, and the one he claimed Afe Babalola doctored. And also we will ask that he provide proof of when, how, with what did Afe Babalola corrupt the justices of the Supreme Court. These are very weighty allegations. As a Nigerian, we won't allow this to fly alone. You can't say because you're an activist, then that will become a license for you to want to run down institutions of states. Absolutely, those institutions represent the will of the Nigerian people. And we have every reason to demand transparency and accountability from those institutions. And that is exactly what we are going to do.
All right, now, talking about activism, we know that in a democracy, freedom of expression is sacrosanct. Do you think that some sort of policy initiative or policy action should sort of come in place to sort of further give clarity as regards the context of this?
D'accord. There's no need for clarity. The Constitution is very clear. Even the 4-way test of Rotary International is very clear to any discerning mind. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it promote goodwill among men? When you say the freedom of expression is sacrosanct, freedom of expression, as much as it is sacrosanct, is not absolute. You must recognize that today, the danger of abuse of this freedom, if there's no limitations to this freedom, is that someday you make a statement against somebody, and rather than taking the legal step, the person can resort to self-help. It's a warning sign that no society must allow that. That is why even in our laws, it is stated clearly, the laws on libel and slander, that the conditions are there. If you make statement and as a person, I feel aggrieved that you have damaged my reputation, I can take either a civil action or a criminal action against you, that you have caused me irreparable harm by your statements or by your publication. So this freedom that we are talking of, no freedom anywhere in the world, no freedom is absolute. If freedom is absolute, human beings will degenerate the society into a total chaotic situation. I can tell you for free, because if I believe I have a freedom of expression, then I can go into somebody's house and call him names. Then you see what the wife will do to me, or even the children if they are grown up.
All right.
And if they beat me up, then the likelihood of my own children, if they are the same age, then we are causing chaos in the society. So every freedom people must recognize that no freedom is absolute. Every freedom comes with rights, obligations, and responsibilities.
All right. Just before I let you go, just a final question. Looking at the involvement of the police in all of this, should they have acted the way they acted? Nelson, did you get that?
I didn't get that. Come again.
Okay, I said looking at the involvement of the police in all of this.
Come again.
Looking at the involvement of the police in all of this,
I didn't get it.
Did they act out of context? Did they act out of line, the police?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The police acted within the confines of the law. A bench warrant was issued, and it is the responsibility of the police to effect any order of the court. If anybody feels otherwise, the person has the option of going to court to seek remedy. So from the information available to me, I will run with the information given from a party to a matter. You know, we say in our local...
Let me be specific.
Even in our local setting, when there's a dispute...
Let me be specific, Nelson. I'm sorry to of course, interrupt you.
Ahead.
Particularly moving from one state to pick up someone in another state and then taking the person. So, I mean, looking at jurisdiction here, for observers of this case, that is out of line.
No, absolutely not. There have been, anybody talking about jurisdiction in this case is being mischievous. This is a book, and you know when a book is written, it could be read anywhere. This is a book that is even online. It means somebody in America could be reading it. So the effect is even beyond the shores of Nigeria. Chief Aare Afe Babalola, if he was resident in America or resident in, UK, in United Kingdom, could as well institute that suit in United Kingdom. So talking about jurisdiction, the effect of that book transcends any jurisdiction. And again, don't forget that the man was picked up by men of the Nigerian police. And the Nigerian police is one and the same, whether the Nigerian police in Sokoto, or the Nigerian police in Kaduna, or the Nigerian police in Lagos. So the issue of people coming up with the issue of jurisdiction, tell them to go to court and, slug it out. Let us know whether the effect of the book.
Nelson.
Because they claim the book was written in Lagos.
Nelson, yes. I'm sorry to, of course, cut your line of thought, but I would really, want you to look at it also from this perspective. Let me paint a scenario for you. It's like picking someone from, a destination outside your scope of operation, whisking the person away without even dropping any prior information. It's not even sure if there was a warrant to that effect. And then you say you act within the confines of the law. How does that justify that?
Even the person who was weeks away from your own account did a video and said is aware that a bench warrant has been issued against him. What else do you want?
I'm sorry, he never said that. Just to clarify issues, he never said that.
Video. And even if he never said that, it's public knowledge that the courts in Ado-Ekiti issued a bench warrant against him. It's public knowledge. So the police have a responsibility to carry out the orders of the courts. That is their responsibility under the law. The police cannot do otherwise.
I'm sorry, just to clear, a bit of, to give our context to this. The video he made was a video that, of course, talked about threat to his life and, not in that regard that you are saying. But my take to you is this. I mean, this feels more like personal influence at work than even the actual case itself.
D'accord.
I'm with you.
I feel insulted when you are trying to tell me at over 50 years of age what I watched. I'm sure you know I'm not a baby. You know I'm an adult and I'm responsible for my actions. So if I've told you I watched something, do you want to exchange my consciousness for yours? That is my own opinion that I watched this. If you didn't watch it, you say you didn't watch it. This is what I watched. And I listened to it with my ears. My ears are functional. We can go to the hospital to check whether I have hearing problems. I listened to it. So you cannot come and tell me that this is what he said. No, that is what you listen to. What I listen to is different from yours. And that is why I'm ventilating it here.
I'm sorry, so Nelson. I'm sorry if you feel insulted, but we watched it. We had our reporter, go there, cover it, did an interview, and had to sit down. So we have, information in that regard.
D'accord. You cannot exchange your information for mine. I'm your guest. You are asking me question, and I'm telling you, if you have a contrary information to what I have, then you say it. You won't say no, that what I'm saying is not what you watched. I'm not saying you watched what I watched, but what I'm telling you is that what I watched and listened to is what I'm telling you right here. And if you want to allege undue influence, don't forget that when this book was read by lawyers in Chief Afe Babalola's chamber, it was brought to his attention. And what did the man do? The man wrote a petition to the police. I saw the petition in a national newspaper. I didn't have a copy of the petition directly. I read it in a national newspaper. Even the book we are talking about, I read it online. And I read excerpts in a national newspaper. And I'm convinced that this is what he wrote. And I also watched some of his videos where he reiterated some of the contents of that book. So I'm clear about what I'm saying.
Okay.
So if anybody believes that Chief Afe Babalola, by seeking remedy to clear his name, by petitioning the police, is exerting undue influence, the question I have for such persons is that, what should the old man have done? Should he take the laws into his hand, or just sit down idly and allow what he has worked on in his life to be thrown into the mud by an allegation that the old man is asking who has made this allegation to come and provide proof?
All right.
And I've just told you, as somebody who is educated, from my own reading of the contents of the book, he has also exposed violations of our constitution, of which, as a Nigerian, I'm going to ask the Nigerian police force to investigate it and do justice to the Nigerian people.
All right.
It's as simple as that.
All right. Thank you so much for your time on the program, Nelson Ekujumi, the Executive Director for Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative. Thank you for your time on the program.